Evening everyone, from a very sunny pool in Dorset. I've only gone and done it. You knew I would anyway. But yep, today was the day. I didn't want to wait any longer. I thought I might as well do it. If I'm going to do it, I might as well just get on and do it. No point delaying any further. So today was the day that I renewed my season ticket. I know, you're going to say, you're mad. You've got no director of football, you've got no manager, your star players looking to leave, your captain's leaving, you've got no direction, you've got no European football, and there you are, chucking £1,000 down the drain. Well, unfortunately, it's not quite that simple, is it? Because as I've said far too many times, I'm an addict. I can't help it. I've supported this team since I was 11 years old. I'm not a lifer like a lot of people. I was introduced to the team as a young boy by a friend, and once you've picked your team, you've picked your team for life. You're never gonna change it. It's not like a wife that you can think, oh, I've had enough of her. She's let me down too many times, so I'm gonna ditch her for a younger, snazzier model. You can't do it. You can't. A football team is probably the only thing that never changes in a person's life. So there you go. I've paid my money. I'll take my chances. I've once said, and it is absolutely true, that even if Tottenham were playing on Hackney Marshes, I'd probably turn up there and watch them, because it's your club. And you've only got to look at supporters of teams like Luton, who have come up to the Premier League. Congratulations to them, by the way. As a person who lived in Bedfordshire for a few years, I can appreciate the little club that is the Hatters, and I'm chuffed for them. But anyway, my point is this: at one time Luton were up there playing in the first division and all the rest of it, and they went all the way down to non-league, nearly in administration, didn't have any money, nearly went bankrupt, but here they are back in the big time. And the majority of those fans that will be watching them next season will be the same fans that have probably been watching them progress all through the leagues back up again, and a number of them will be part of families that have watched them go all the way down. So when things are not going well for your football team, I guess the supporters are needed more than ever. Now, that's that pitch out the side. I've pitched my reasons, but you can't get away from the fact that Tottenham have some significant issues, with the top of the list being Daniel Levy, and not just Daniel Levy, but the whole board, right? Because he can't just make the decisions on his own. He might be a significant shareholder, but he's not the majority shareholder. That's Joe Lewis. And then you've got all these other people that have got their shares as well, and all these board members that are making decisions for what they see is the benefit of the club. The problem is their vision for the club is not the same vision that the football supporters share. You know, their vision is and you can go along with some of it, right? So their vision is a self-sustaining competitive club that uses all its facilities to generate income, to allow it to be self-sufficient and so on. At the same time as doing that, however, it means big profits for them, big bumper pay packets for them, which is the bit that really gets under your nose. Like me personally, I like the idea of our club being able to sustain itself and living within our means because of financial fair play. But at the same time as that, I want all these other things to be done in the name of the football team, not in the name of ENIC. And there lies the problem, because I don't believe that ENIC are doing the things they're doing for the betterment of the football club. They'll tell you they are, and the question is whether you believe them or not. And the majority of fans don't believe them, they have no faith in them. And the other problem with that is, as we touched on previously, is that given that there is no communication about that strategic plan, makes it even harder for you to get behind it. So there's problems, absolute problems. But let's not get away from the fact that we have invested in the players. These guys are getting paid really good money, regardless of whether it's top dollar or not. They have been paid good money. We have had Champions League football, which technically is supposed to attract the best players. But has it? Or has it all been down to terrible recruitment? Like, oh, I'm trying to get through this gap. This person's parked right on the pavement. Dickhead. So you have to blame that level of what that team are doing in terms of helping us progress, because let's be fair, fans were calling out for Ndombele to be signed for God knows how long. He was called out as the great hope and brilliant player and all the rest of it, and to be honest, he has been. Like, there's been occasions where you look at this guy's talent and you're like, wow, he's amazing, but he just doesn't have the work ethic and the character to do what really needs to be done. Or is it the type of team that he's been in? You know, the tactics that are being played. I don't know. But, you know, I guess my point is this. We call out, we want this, we want that, and all the rest of it. But even when we get it, it doesn't seem to work for us. So I do feel a bit cursed. But this manager situation is one that's a real hold up for me. Because as I said yesterday in my video that I did, we're all getting behind the idea of a certain person because the media are saying they're our top target. So then we all throw ourselves into it. It's going to be this one, it's going to be Nagelsmann or whatever, it's going to be, you know, it's going to be Nagelsmann, it's going to be Nagelsmann. And then when it doesn't happen, you're let down. So then you move on to the next candidate. Arne Slot. Yep, we're all on it, we're all on it. And then that goes, and that lets you down. So it's just really difficult to get behind the whole thing. And all at the same time as this, I'm getting told about all the benefits that I'm going to get. You know, today I was invited to join all these competitions, to win a shirt, to go to the training ground, to get a Ledley King shirt and all this. And I'm like, I'm not interested. I'm not interested. I just want to see some positive news coming out of my football club, about my football club. I don't want to live in the past constantly. And I know it's going to be difficult for us to compete, you know, when you've got countries or people that are richer than countries being their football club as their little plaything. Like what's his name? Geezer from Chelsea. Is it Ted? Todd, not fucking Ted, Jesus. No, that guy is using it as his own toy, spending ridiculous amounts of money on players, and it's just not working for him. So he needs some decent managerial support, and by bringing Pochettino in, he's probably done the right thing, because Pochettino will galvanise the team. He will get them together, and unfortunately I think he'll probably be a success, because these players that they've spent money on, they can't all be crap. So I'm sure he'll do something, and that's really disappointing, because we all dislike Chelsea because of what they started when Abramovich turned up, and this is what's kind of led to this whole spend attitude to win everything. You know, there was always a bit of that before with Man United, always buying the best players and paying the best wages and all the rest of it, so they could have the pick of the bunch. Liverpool did it before that. So it is really, you know, it is a common thing that's happened, but obviously from English football's point of view, probably more started with Chelsea in a big way. Even Blackburn did it for a while, how they won the league. So I'm kind of coming back all full circle really, because I get what they're trying to do at Tottenham in terms of utilise all your revenue streams to create income big enough to support your team. But it just doesn't feel like it's working in the right way to support the team. It feels like it's working to support Daniel Levy and his cronies. So listen, like I said, I've bought my season ticket, and there'll be a lot of people that say to me, you're a fool, you're out of order. The only way to send a message to Daniel Levy is to have empty seats, to not give him the money and all the rest of it. But the truth of the fact is, and it's a sad one really, if I don't buy my season ticket, someone else will. If the season tickets didn't sell and no one bought a season ticket, they'd still fill the stadium because people would still buy it. You can protest outside the ground, and fair play to those guys that do that, but he's not going to listen. He's not listening to that. You can cuss his name and they'll drown you out with louder music and that kind of stuff. And all the while he's getting the money that he's getting, he ain't going to be bothered. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, because I think you have to do something. You have to do what you feel works and makes you feel better about that you're trying to do something. But let's be honest, you know, all the time Newcastle fans were protesting against the geezer at Sports Direct. He only sold when the price was right and he wanted it. All the Man United fans that created their own football team and all that, the Glazers are still only selling when the price is right for them. These people don't just walk away because of, you know, getting some stick. They don't. It's just the way it is. But, you know, I'm not knocking anyone who's protesting. I think you've got to make your voices heard if that's how you feel. But at the same time, you have to remember why you're in this in the first place. You're in it because for the love of Tottenham. So I guess the question is, if you're at the ground protesting on match days, do you still go in on match days, or are you boycotting the ground altogether? And if you're boycotting the ground yourself, are you selling your ticket that you might have if you're a season ticket holder? In which case your seat's still filled. Like I say, it's just a real difficult one for your own conscience. I pay £1,000 for my season ticket. Can I afford to just throw that £1,000 away and go, right, my seat's going to be empty for the whole season? Who's missing out? Me, because I don't get to see my team. I don't get to watch the football. And as much as it pains me when we lose, I get so much joy when we win, or when we play some decent football. Like I say, I know it's not regular, I know it's not all the time, but when I signed up to support Spurs, I signed up for life. I've passed it on to my family now. My son feels it, my son-in-law feels it, my grandsons feel it, you know. They're all in this boat because of me, and I feel a little bit guilty about that. But like I said, life's for life. It's like being in a gang in America, and it blood in, blood out. You've got to kill someone to get out of this, supporting this team. but there you go. So I know I'm rambling on, and apologies. You don't need to watch all of it. But my point, I guess, is for how difficult it is at times, you're always going to be sucked in somewhere along the line. If you're not at the ground watching it, you're probably watching it on the TV. And if you've got Sky Sports, BT Sports, Amazon Prime, all of those, and you're paying for them, which I know lots of people don't, then you are doing just as much as a person buying a ticket to the stadium, to a certain extent. If you're still walking around in a Tottenham shirt, in the training gear, in a Tottenham hat, whatever it might be, you're still funding that infrastructure. You know, for me, I guess my biggest stance is the fact that I don't go into the ground until the game is ready to start. I don't buy a drink in there, don't buy food in there. After the game, I don't stay. That's my own little, my own little sort of protest to go off and do something else. Because there's plenty of pubs and there's plenty of places to eat outside of there. And that supports the local economy, and by God, the local economy needs it. So as I say, blood in, blood out. End of the day, we're always going to support our team. So yeah, I've paid me money, I'll take my chances. We'll see what happens in the new season, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll have something to cheer about on a more regular basis. Big summer ahead. Up the Spurs.